Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. We are about to click the clock over into 2024, and today we are going to talk specifics about the best, my favorite sets of 2023. Little caveat here, I do have a few that did not make the top 10 list that we'll call honorable mentions, because it was tough to leave them out. At the same time, it was like, man, I don't know. I think they got to get in there. So my three honorable mentions are as follows. And hopefully you have put a list together yourself. If you have not, yeah, you should. Every year you should do it. And just see, what you thought was the best, what you thought was the worst. I'm not going to do a worst list this year. I kind of feel bad doing that to the design team. I've done it a few times, but not today. So one of my honorable mentions is a pair here. They are the exotic parrots. That's the exotic parrot and the exotic pink parrot. They were really fun sets. I really appreciate the build behind it, the uniqueness. And, we just talked about birds the other day, and, I felt like they belonged on there, but they weren't quite the top 10. Then we have the Disney Hocus Pocus house, which we had talked about. I raved about it. I loved it. There's just some things on there that I just think, I think there's better builds out there for different reasons, and, they're not in there. Now, this next one, this is the last one that I have as an honorable mention, and I'm probably going to have some of you absolutely yell at me. It is the A-frame cabin. I know, I'm sorry. Oh man, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. It's an incredible build. It really is. And you got to think of how many products come out in a calendar year from Lego. Yes, you have all the city waves that are like 15, 20 sets a wave. But I'm talking about how many do you really think come out that really can vie for that top 10? There's got to be 100. There's got to be 100. So it's really tough. Unfortunately, it did not make my list this year. So my 10th best set of the year goes to a Harry Potter theme set, believe it or not. I cannot believe I'm even saying this, but it is the Gringotts Wizarding Bank. Absolutely has to be on there. That build will be coming here hopefully in the next few weeks. Things are a little chaotic. However, it had to be on there somewhere. I think 10 is a good spot for me for it, considering what some other things are out there. And mind you, what your top 10 looks like is going to be completely different than what anybody else thinks. You might have, 50 different favorites from the same theme, and 2 of them make the list, maybe 1, maybe none, based on everything that is out there in the year. So that is my number 10. The number 9 this year goes to the Botanical Garden from Lego Friends. Yes, there is Lego Friends coming in at number 9 on here. Why? It's not a super large set. It was a gorgeous little build. And the nice thing about it is you get some really nice pieces in there. Those glass pieces are really, really good. So that definitely helps it, get onto the list, I guess, to a certain degree. But for the cheapness of it, the price cheapness in comparison to some of the other things that are on this list, I can see where somebody's going to be like, oh, what on earth? But for the value that I felt that you were getting with this, it had to be on there. So she is definitely on this list, and for good reason, absolutely good reason. Then we move on to the number 8 set of the year. This one is the Viking Village. It hits nostalgia for some people to a certain degree. The build behind it was another Another exquisite little build. And I gotta tell you what, this year, and we've got another one on here and you'll find out in a minute, Lego Ideas this year has absolutely slayed the competition. Absolutely slayed the competition. And I cannot get over how many incredible Lego Idea sets are continuing to pop out. Now, there have been some, that I felt have kind of been like duds to a certain degree. I think, what was it? The BTS. I never really understood that. But there are some that have just been, this is one of them that has just been incredible. The A-frame cabin, another one. The Lego Idea stuff has been a workhorse for the Lego group for the last however many years. Like the game stepping uppage has been incredible. So the Viking Village there is sitting at number 8. Number 7, we're going back to Lego Ideas. And I raved and just absolutely was gushing about this, not just because it was an exclusive interview, but the Lego Insect Collection. 3 really cool little builds. And again, you're talking price, right? It's not $200, it's not $300, it's not $700. I think it's a $50 set? Something that is not wild and crazy, something that has so much detail, little details packed in to 3 tiny little builds, but every single one of them stand on their own. All 3 of them stand a head above many other things that are out there. And I will stand on this podium and I will yell and scream for the Insect Collection just due to the sheer fact that it is everything that you could want in a Lego build, but in such a smaller, compact build. It has details. It has fun techniques. It has just all those little things. Plus, it's something you can display forever. And it doesn't have to be a certain theme that you're going for. It's just something fun you can put on your desk. You put it on a shelf. I am not taking mine apart for any time soon. They're too well done. Number 6 on the list is a Disney set. I know. We're going with the villains icons. I know. Some of you are probably like, whoa, I did not see that one coming. Me neither. So when I was putting my list together, I thought about all the builds that I had done. I thought about everything that had come out. And then you start breaking it down. You start going through themes and you're like, okay, well, what did this theme really have this year? There are some years where you have a theme and you have some okay builds, but sometimes they're kind of like, yeah, it really didn't blow me away this year. Technic really didn't blow me away this year. There was nothing on that Technic list that I was like, I really need that. Or this was such an immaculate build. It was so, top to bottom was perfect. There was really nothing from the Technic offering that really gave me that feel in comparison to the other things that are out there. And the other thing about this build, you have a bunch of little different things. The books were really cool with the hiding places and stuff, the apple with its hiding place. All of these little things made it a fun set. It's display worthy. It's one of those, just kind of, I guess kitschy might be the right word for it. I think one of those things where you just kind of enjoy it for what it is without not taking it too seriously or looking too deep into it. It's just a fun build. It's a fun set. And it's Disney. You have the villains, these bad people from the history of Disney. I wonder if, some of the nostalgia could definitely be kicking in there to put it up on this far up on my list, but who knows? Number 5, we are coming in here. This is a new theme from Lego Dreams, believe it or not. And it is the Nightmare Shark Ship. This was such a cool little build. And I'm trying to take into consideration when I choose these. Again, like I have said so many times, I'm an 8-year-old trapped in this body, right? I'm always going to go back to those things where I really love the kid type features, the kid type sets within reason. You know, I don't want that $15 Lego city set that's for, you know, the juniors, the 4+ stuff. That doesn't tickle my fancy. I don't get enjoyment out of playing or messing around with something like that. This was a lot of fun. You have the alternate builds as well, which is neat, but it's a behemoth of a ship. The build techniques in it were okay. They weren't they're not going to rival, you know, some of the big things, you know, like with the icons or sometimes with ideas. They're not the things that are going to rival all of that stuff, but they stand on their own 2 feet with the ability of, like I said, being able to change the build or just the build in general. There was so much fun in it, just the build experience. And sometimes, you know, you go through and you're building Lego and you're just kind of building it and you're like, this isn't super exciting. It's enjoyable. 100%. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to enjoy building it. But, you know, there are some builds that you come across and you catch yourself going, that is super cool. I love the way that's done. This was one of them. Number 4, the El Dorado Fortress. Sure, maybe some nostalgia. I didn't have this as a kid, unfortunately, but it has to be in there. It was what the community has been craving. I have thoroughly enjoyed this set while it's now taken apart and stored. I had so much fun building it. The little, you know, parts that they did to try and keep it as close to the original, but make it its own thing was perfect. And, you know, it's so here's not a for instance. I was sorting some things today, right? We got our home gym built in our giant steel storage building. And above that now is a lofted Lego storage facility for me. And I was moving sets out there that are in boxes, that are back in boxes, sets that have been taken apart piece by piece and put into bags, into containers. And I was putting all that kind of stuff out there, some of it. And I've got a lot to go. And, you know, I was moving things around and I came across the King's Castle. I think it was the King's Castle from 2 years ago, last year. I guess 2022 there. That's the clarification that I needed. And it was still in its box. And it was still like, I didn't break it down. It was broken down enough to get into the box. And I was messing about and I pulled it out. And I was like, man, this is a really cool set. This was really, really cool. And then, you know, again, they're not taking the same build from the original classic set. They're giving you something new, but something in that same vein as well. And that's what happened with the El Dorado Fortress. Same thing. So, you know, in a year or whatever, in a few months or whatever, however long, and I go out there and I see the El Dorado Fortress and I'm, you know, it's going to hit you in the head. And it's like, yeah, this was a really good set. For the year, it was a really, really good set. So that is number 4 on the list. Number 3. So we're now down to the top 3. This is where it becomes fun because a lot of people are going to have these 3 on their list, almost certainly in the top 5, if not completely in the top 3. And everybody is going to adjust their top 3. So when I give these 3 to you, I want you to take into consideration, and be like, yeah, you know, I would put this one in front of this one or whatever. But just take these top 3, pretend it's your top 3, and you tell me what order you have them in. Or the person that you're riding in the car with or working with, you know, yell across the shop, hey, Tony, which one do you think should be first? You know, something like that. All right, number 3, I have the Ninjago City Markets. Yes. Great build, plenty of details in there. So many minifigures, so much just detail in general. And the crappy thing about these things, these big buildings with like the modulars every year, you have all these little cool details and stuff in there, and then you can't see it. It's like the dinosaur bones that are in the basement on the on the Natural History Museum. They're in the basement and you can't see them because they're under the build. Like the build is over top of them. It sucks. And there's other little details throughout all these builds that are completely closed in, and you have to lift off a level to look at them. You have to do this to look at them, and it sucks. Like I 100% flat out say it just sucks. But it was such a great build, and I'm sure some of you are probably shocked, like, oh my god, the Ninjago nerd doesn't have it's not number one. No, because I think there are two builds that are better. That's why. Not a nostalgia, not a bias here. It was a great build, is a great build, will be. I will tell you what, this is probably not going to go out of sale for another, 2 years probably. However, make sure you get yourself one if you have the opportunity to be able to do it. Don't go into financial distress to be able to acquire one before it retires. And like I said, it's not retiring anytime soon. However, you will not be sorry. So my number 2 comes down to 2 sets that could be my number 1, honestly. And this was a tough choice. This was a really tough choice to go with number 1. It's like 1 and 1A. I mean, it's pretty much right there. So my number 2 is the Lord of the Rings Rivendell. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It was such a fun build. It was gigantic. It was way more than what I needed. I know the fan community out there has just gone gaga for this. The build was fun. There's a lot of interesting little touches and details to it. Some weird techniques that are in this. It's a delicate build, I will say. That there's parts of it that it's like, okay, it's not quite what I would want, because you've got to have perfect alignment for some things. However, and soft hands, which I technically don't really have. I'm too rough. I'm like, I don't have enough of that fine, super fine motor coordination. I'm a little bull in a china shop when it comes to certain very, 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 very fine motor. Anyway, it was a great set. It's a great build. The minifigs spot on. And me not, being this giant Lord of the Rings person, like I don't, it's like the Star Wars fandom, the Harry Potter fandom. You have the same thing with Lord of the Rings, where you have people that know this inside out and backwards, and they know the backstories to all the characters, even if there wasn't a backstory. And there's all that kind of stuff encapsulated here and wrapped up into this build with those details. So for that is why it is my number 2. And the number one set for me of 2023 comes down to an icon set, which doesn't usually appear to be shocking, but it is the Natural History Museum. We got 2 modulars this year, right? Some people are saying, well, no. Like, this is technically for 2024. No, it technically released December 1st. It's been out to be able to be sold, bought for a month. So you have to have like I said, the best set for me was this. You have to have it in this year. Now, if it released January 1st, then that's the next year. That's 2024. We're talking 2023. And I've seen some fan medias and stuff like that actually have that listed as not being 2023. They put it as 2024. It's 2023. It was released in 2023. But this set had, like I said, all the details were there. The freaking dinosaur bone under the part of the floor it still irritates me in the worst way that I can't get to it and access it. I should have put like a window in the floor so that you could see it. Like, there's a place here in Texas where there are mammoth remains and other prehistoric remains that are in the ground that were found in a river bed. And then they just built this entire building around it and slowly excavated things so that you could see them. Anyway, they kind of have that whole idea where, glass encapsulates certain things and you can see it. And that's kind of where I was with this modular. Like, I really need to find a way to show that part, the bone underneath, and kind of encapsulate it, by being under glass versus just being under a stupid solid plate. Oh God. Yeah. Anyway, so that is my number one. I hope you guys have a top 10 or a favorite of the year. There are definitely many to choose from. I can only imagine what 2024 is going to bring, especially from the Icons line. You never know if you're going to see something like Lord of the Rings just kind of pop out of nowhere. You never know. Well, we won't be getting a new Ninjago building this year. They've been on a 2-year cycle. However, you just don't know what things are going to pop out. And then, they introduce this new theme with Dreams, and Dreams has some really cool stuff. And then Lego Ideas, like I said, the Ideas theme, it just continues to just blow things away. Now, we already know what is coming for 2024. You just don't know in what order it is arriving and what the final build is going to look like. So that is 2023. That is what I hope you enjoyed this year. Everything that Lego has brought to you into your life one way or another. And I appreciate everybody being here for the ride through 2023. And then we kick off into 2024. So make sure you're safe out there. No drinking and driving. If those of you that are going to party or do whatever. And if you do have some adult beverages, make sure you have a designated driver, somebody to get you home. Just do everything safely, please. I want to have every single one of you back for 2024. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.